the tariffs that Trump announced that he would place by April 2nd would completely destroy the economy, destroy the stock market. So is now the time to hide, sell all your stocks, and run into cash and like bonds? So that's what this video is going to be about. So this is going to be my prediction and kind of where I think the Trump administration is at in their idea of placing these tariffs against either it's Canada or Mexico, China, or even just everyone, right? The April 2nd, what's it called? The retaliatory tariffs. So what do I think about this? And is now the time to just leave and go flock to safety? So this video, it's gonna be actually oddly bullish. You didn't expect it, but it's gonna be oddly bullish. So this is what I think, right? I think that Trump, yes, those tariffs would completely destroy the economy, the stock market, right? Basically, you're eliminating half, like everyone other than the U.S. For U.S. companies, you're eliminating all those other customers because those customers will no longer they'll be priced out of buying your product because the tariffs will be so high. So what do I think is actually happening? Is my opinion is that Trump is using those tariffs to kind of knock down all the tariffs that are currently placed. And I think that hopefully, right, this is me just praying at this point, actually more it's me praying and hoping that this is what Trump is thinking rather than me predicting. But I really do hope that he is an advocate for free trade, and basically rather than enacting all those tariffs, he's using those tariffs and he's saying retaliatory tariffs in a way, because the way he phrased retaliatory tariffs, right, he said we're going to enact the same exact tariff or the same exact like rules against the companies as they enacted on us, right? So that means that if they have a 40% tariff, we'll have a 40% tariff. There's not going to be this inequality anymore. But what does that also mean? That means that if those countries that currently have a 5%, 10%, 15% tariff, if they knock it down to zero, then we'll knock our tariffs down to zero. Like, I think in a way he is using it as a negotiating tactic. And like a few weeks ago, I was actually really worried as well, right? A few months ago, I was like, dude, wait, this dude's actually planning to enact tariffs? That's ridiculous, right? But then if you look at the size of the tariffs, right, 25% tariffs, those are ridiculous. Like, you think it's only a 25% increase in, no, it isn't. Think about, the car companies, right? They are so entwined in companies outside of the US, either Mexico or Canada. Like, a car will go through the border multiple times before it's finally finished, right? Think about every single tariff. Like, you basically just get like tariffed multiple times just to create a single car, right? Now imagine for all the other products, and also imagine for things that require multiple pieces to produce, right? You're going to get a 25% tariff on this, 15% tariff on that, 30% tariff on that. Would be so that would increase the price. That would cause so much inflation that the U.S. economy will just be utterly screwed. So what I do believe is, I believe that because the U.S. is in such a power position compared to the other countries, right? Most other countries, they're actually not doing that well, right? Like, truth be told, the U.S. economy, even though it might not be the best economy, right, it might not be in the best shape, it is basically the highest performing economy in the world, right now. You could say that there's other companies or other countries that are currently doing, like, they're doing better than they were previously, right? Like, hopefully, I think Germany's their DAX, their stock market is going up. It's up, I think, 15% in year to date, whereas the SPY is down like single digits, right? But overall, as if you're just looking at the economy, the U.S. is doing the best. So because retaliatory tariffs will hurt both economies, not equally, like at least proportionally, right? As a as a bigger country, or a more strong or more like healthy country or healthy economy, they can shoulder that pain a little bit more. So then it's the other countries that are more worried and would probably be more willing to reduce tariffs in order to bring that tariff down to zero, rather than having that equal tariff, if that makes sense at all. So I do believe that because we're in a strong position, that America threatening those tariffs would cause the other countries to drop their tariffs. And I think that that could be really, really bullish for the American economy. Now, whether or not those countries do it, I do think that this is a big bluff. And Trump, he will bluff, but then he'll actually enact it, right? And it's really just a big negotiating ploy. I really hope so. I really hope so. It's a really big negotiating ploy in order to have that free trade. Another reason why I do believe that he is looking for more trade, actually more global trade rather than less, and having less tariffs rather than more, is because think about what just happened in, I think, the past week. Li Ka-shing just sold, like, what was it, 98% of his Panama port thingies, or like his stake in Panama, to BlackRock and a few other people, right? So America just regained a lot of control of Panama. If you believe that you were going to enact ridiculous tariffs, right? Any person with a brain, maybe like older than the age of 5, would understand that more tariffs, more expensive, less trade. Why would you bother buying the Panama Canal? Why wouldn't you wait until after, like, tariffs start going down and there's more trade? Well, I think that he maybe it could just be a pride thing, right? It could just be like, we want it back because we're America, hell yeah, right? But I think that maybe he sees in the near term future that there's going to be a lot more shipping, and then we'll be able to like get a lot more revenue, or just more like income from those ports, from using the Panama Canal. Like, that does kind of make sense, right? Like, he would buy the Panama Canal right before trade increases or explodes, and then hopefully when trade it does increase and explode, first of all, America will become stronger as an economy because of that increased trade, but also because you now have this heightened income from the Panama Canal. So is it like, this is just me like kind of like rambling and thinking, like talking out my thoughts, but what do you think, right? Do you think that those tariffs, or that retaliatory tariff, is actually not really a threat, but more like an olive branch? Like Trump is basically giving an olive branch to all these countries that are saying, okay, here's your chance, right? We're gonna do retaliatory is it even retaliatory or retaliatory? Whatever it is, right? We're gonna copy your tariffs, right? So whatever tariff you have on us, we're gonna do the same exact thing. So it could be 40%, and it could be 0%, right? And I don't know. I think that this also matches with the his reduction in USAID, where I recently read a book. I forgot who it was by, but basically that book was talking about how foreign aid doesn't really do that much stuff, because foreign aid often goes to just dictators and what are they called? Yeah, it just goes to dictators' bank accounts, right? Very little of it will trickle down to the actual economy, to the actual population, or to the actual citizens of that country, or to actually fix that country. So the better way to actually support a country, a third world country, or like a struggling country, is to actually just look for entrepreneurs in that country and then buy their goods and services, so that they can basically get that money flow, and then they can support their own economy rather than just giving them aid. So I could just be like, these are all just prayers, right? Like, I could just be, maybe I'm looking way too into it, maybe I'm being way too optimistic, but I don't know, I just feel like his foreign policy, hopefully, right, please don't just be batshit crazy, but please, right, if he's actually reducing the USAID, so that in order to kind of, instead of putting money into like donations, we're putting money into, okay, well, you produce rubber, or you produce something, right? You produce coal or anything that we might have some type of use for. Instead of giving them money, which just goes to the dictator, we say, okay, we'll just buy your goods and services. We'll buy from that entrepreneur that lives in the middle of some bumfuck nowhere, right? And then that will stimulate their economy so that they are no longer bumfuck nowhere, right? And the other thing is also, as I said before, if tariffs go down, because instead of enacting 40% tariffs, when those countries that are more struggling or more not in a as strong of a position as America, when they start to bring their tariffs down in order to resume trade with America, then then that will also help stimulate their economy as well, and also help kind of am I just being too optimistic? But I just believe that hopefully Trump believes in free trade. He believes in, rather than donations, in kind of giving them a chance to work for whatever they have, right? And giving them chance to, or giving entrepreneurs in those countries a chance to produce and then create more wealth that way, right? And also, like, I don't know, like, so I said all these things, right? I'm kind of just rambling at this point, but what do you think, right? This is my really optimistic way of way of viewing it, whereas everyone else is really worried about all these tariffs, all these things. I just feel that the threat of tariffs is so monumental, and so, like, if what he says actually does come true for a long period of time, that will completely devastate the economy. And I think that Trump, he looks at the stock market to see performance, and I I also believe that he is I don't want to say narcissistic enough, but like he is like he cares enough about his legacy that he doesn't want to be that president that led to a recession or even a depression, right? And if you look at his negotiating tactics, right, with Canada, with Mexico, even with Ukraine and Russia, he'll stay really firm, strong-hard, and even seem stubborn, but then he'll almost flip-flop immediately after, right? Especially like with the past few days with Canada, or even with like negotiating with Ukraine. He sees who, I hope, or at least like whoever's helping him, sees who has a stronger hand, and then you play to that stronger hand, and then you just kind of wait for an opening, or you kind of somehow wait for the situation to kind of be more in your favor, right? And I hope, I pray, please, that this is the case, and that he's not just completely out of his mind. So what do you think about this? Hopefully this was somewhat optimistic, and like there is a potential route to see like the light at the end of the tunnel, and that we shouldn't all just be super worried, right? And I just think that the threat of tariffs, the threat of all these things, it's way too high for anyone in their right mind to actually enact. And I feel like there's a lot of the kind of like bits, pieces, and clues that you can kind of piece together to hope to see a brighter, like to see what he's doing in a brighter light, right? As I said before, reducing USAID, that could be positive if he's gonna transfer that money into just actually stimulating those economies, or stimulating those countries in a different way. There's him taking over more. He's taking over a majority stake in the Panama Canal, right? Having Li Ka-shing sell, what was it? I think 98% to American companies like BlackRock, etc. Right? You wouldn't do that if you expected tariffs to go up and trade to go down, right? You do that because you expect to be able to get more revenue once trade starts to explode, or once trade starts to increase, right? Again, with the tariffs, it just doesn't make sense. So I've been rambling enough. I think I repeated the same thing multiple times. But what do you think, right? Do you think that I'm just being like optimistic and I'm just turning a blind eye to just of course, I didn't say a lot of the stupid things that he actually did, but like maybe this could be positive, right? And who knows, right? I can't read minds. This is just me thinking, and me hoping for the best of the future and for the best of America. Right? That's it. That's this video. Have a good day. Peace. I really don't want to edit this, so I hope this is a one shot. Bye.